Ambassador Ji-won Park stood in the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, trying not to show her nervousness. The massive room stretched hundreds of feet above her head, with floating platforms holding representatives from dozens of alien species. Some looked like giant insects. Others were covered in scales or fur. A few didn't even have recognizable faces. All of them were staring down at her with what she could only describe as contempt. High Chancellor Morden sat on the highest platform. He was a Valkyrie, a species that looked almost human but with silver skin and 3 eyes. He had ruled the council for over a century, and his voice dripped with arrogance as he spoke. Human representative. The Galactic Council has reached a decision regarding your species. One clasped her hands behind her back. She had been Earth's ambassador for 3 years now, and she knew this meeting would be bad. The Council had been making threats for months, but she wasn't prepared for what came next. Your species has violated 17 treaties since joining our civilized community, Morden continued. You have expanded into systems without proper authorization. You have refused to share your technological developments. You have shown aggressive tendencies unbefitting of a council member. Wanted to scream. Earth had never been told about half those treaties. The council had buried them in documents thousands of pages long, written in languages humans were still learning. It was a setup from the beginning. Councillor Vexler, a massive reptilian creature from the Dracoth species, leaned forward on his platform. His voice was like gravel scraping metal. Humans are primitives. You discovered faster-than-light travel only 40 years ago. My species mastered the stars before your ancestors crawled from the oceans. You do not belong here. Other council members nodded in agreement. Some made sounds that might have been laughter. Morden raised one elegant hand for silence. Therefore, the council demands the following. Earth will surrender 70% of its military fleet within 30 days. All human colonies beyond your home system will accept council oversight and governance. Earth will pay reparations totaling 5 trillion credits for damages caused by your aggressive expansion. Finally, all human technological research will be submitted to the Council for approval before implementation. The chamber fell silent. Ji-won felt her blood run cold and hot with anger. They wanted to strip Earth of its defenses, take control of its colonies, bankrupt its economy, and steal its technology. This wasn't justice. This was conquest dressed up in legal language. And if we refuse? Ji-won asked, her voice steady despite the rage building inside her. Vexler showed his teeth in what might have been a smile. Then the Council will be forced to take corrective military action. We have assembled an enforcement fleet of 500 warships. They are currently positioned at the border of Council space, waiting for our command. You have 72 hours to accept these terms, Morden said. Dismissed. Ji-won wanted to argue, to fight, to make them see reason, but she knew it would be useless. The Council had made up their minds. They saw humanity as upstart children who needed to be put in their place. She turned and walked out of the chamber with her head held high, refusing to give them the satisfaction of seeing her afraid. The journey back to Earth took 6 hours through the quantum jump gates. Ji-won spent every minute of it preparing her report. As soon as her ship entered Earth's solar system, she contacted Fleet Command. Admiral Taeyang Lee appeared on her screen. He was 60 years old, with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Ambassador Park, I take it the meeting didn't go well. They're planning to invade us, Admiral. They've given us 72 hours to surrender most of our fleet and submit to occupation. Taeyang's expression didn't change, but his eyes hardened. Come straight to Geneva. The President needs to hear this directly. 2 hours later, Ji-won stood in the secure conference room deep beneath the United Earth Government headquarters. President Un Ji-hwang sat at the head of the table, flanked by Admiral Lee and the heads of every major Earth military branch. Also present was Dr. Yuna Choi, the brilliant scientist who led Earth's most classified research. Division G1 played the recording of the council meeting. When it finished, the room erupted in angry voices. Only President Wang remained calm, her fingers steepled in front of her face. Silence, she said quietly, but everyone immediately stopped talking. Dr. Choi, what is the status of Project Raven? The scientist smiled grimly. The quantum displacement drives are fully operational on all frontline vessels. The plasma lance weapons have exceeded every testing parameter. We're at least 20 years ahead of Council technology, maybe more. They don't know about any of this? The President asked. We've kept it completely black. Every ship we've shown the Council still uses old fusion drives and kinetic weapons. They think we're barely more advanced than we were 50 years ago. Admiral Lee leaned forward. Madam President, if the Council brings 500 ships to our doorstep, we can field maybe 50 vessels without leaving Earth completely defenseless. Even with our technological advantage, those odds are concerning, but achievable? President Wang asked. The Admiral nodded slowly. Captain Hyun-Woo Kim is our best tactical commander. If anyone can win an engagement like that, it's him. But we'll take casualties. How long until their deadline expires? Ju-won checked her datapad. 68 hours. President Huang stood up. Then we have 68 hours to prepare. Admiral, mobilize the defense fleet, but keep it scattered. I don't want the Council spies to know we're getting ready. Dr. Choi, I want every new weapon system armed and ready. Ambassador Park, draft a formal rejection of the Council's demands. Make it polite but absolutely clear that Earth will not surrender. And if they attack? Someone asked. The President's expression was cold steel. Then we show them exactly why humanity survived ice ages, plagues, and world wars. We show them why you don't threaten Earth and expect us to bow down. We show them what happens when you provoke the wrong species. Captain Hyun-Woo Kim received his orders 18 hours later. He stood on the bridge of the UEN Indomitable, the most advanced warship in Earth's fleet, reading the mission brief. Around him, his crew worked quietly, efficiently, preparing for what was coming. Sir, we have confirmation, his communications officer said. The Council's enforcement fleet is crossing into our space. 512 vessels, entering the solar system near Jupiter. Hyun-Woo looked at the tactical display. 50 Earth ships against over 500 alien vessels. By any conventional calculation, they should be terrified. But these weren't conventional circumstances. All ships, this is Captain Kim, proceed to designated positions. Maintain radio silence until my mark. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. He turned to his weapons officer, Min-ho Park. Are the plasma lances charged? Yes, sir. All systems green? Quantum drives? Ready on your command, Captain. Hyun-Woo nodded and settled into his command chair. The Council thought they were about to crush a primitive species. They thought overwhelming numbers would be enough. They were about to learn a hard lesson about underestimating humanity. The timer counted down. In 72 hours, Earth had refused to surrender. Now the Galactic Council's enforcement fleet was here to teach humanity its place in the galaxy. They had no idea they were flying into a trap. Admiral Corthan of the Valkyrie Empire sat in his command throne aboard the flagship, Celestial Hammer, watching the primitive human homeworld grow larger on his viewscreen. Around his vessel, 511 other warships from a dozen Council species moved in loose formation. The fleet was massive, unstoppable, a demonstration of the Council's absolute power. Pathetic little world, Corthan muttered. The blue and green planet looked so vulnerable, so small. He couldn't understand why the Council had even bothered with the ultimatum. They should have just taken this system years ago. His communications officer, an insectoid Thetra, clicked its mandibles nervously. Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from the human fleet. Put it through. The screen changed to show a human male in a dark blue uniform. The name tag read Captain Kim. He looked young for a military commander, maybe 40 years old. His expression was calm, almost bored. Admiral Corthan, I am Captain Hyun-Woo Kim of the United Earth Navy. You are in violation of Earth territorial space. Turn your fleet around and leave immediately. Corthan laughed, a sound like wind chimes made of bone. Captain Kim, I have 512 warships. You have, according to our scans, exactly 50 vessels. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. Resist, and we will turn your cities to glass. You've made your choice then, Hyanwu said, and cut the transmission. Corthan shook his head in amazement. These humans were either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Probably stupid. All ships advance. Weapons free. Show them what happens when primitives refuse the Council's wisdom. The massive fleet surged forward. Moving past Jupiter's orbit toward Earth, the 50 human ships held position near Mars, not advancing, not retreating. Just waiting on Earth in a bunker deep below the Pacific Ocean, Commander Bio Rahan sat in front of multiple screens showing intercepted Council communications. She had been listening to their encrypted channels for weeks, slowly breaking their codes. What she discovered made her blood run cold. Admiral Li, you need to hear this, she said into her secure line. Admiral Taeyang Li's face appeared on her screen. What have you found, Commander? Sir, the Council never intended to just take our fleet. I've been reading their operational plans. After we surrender, they plan to occupy Earth completely. Turn it into a labor colony. They're going to enslave us. There was a long silence. Then Admiral Li nodded slowly. Send everything you have to Captain Kim, and Commander, thank you. Now, we know exactly what we're fighting for. Aboard the Indomitable, Captain Hyanwu read Commander Han's report. His jaw tightened. Enslavement. They were planning to enslave humanity. He looked at his crew, working at their stations. Each one of them had families on Earth, children, parents, lovers, people who deserved to live free. Lieutenant Kang, he said to his fighter wing commander, launch all fighters. Keep them hidden behind the ship until I give the word. Sujin Khan was only 28, but she was the best pilot in the fleet. Yes, sir. Wraith Squadron is ready. The Council fleet continued its advance. They moved carelessly, their formation loose and undisciplined. Why bother with tactics against such an inferior enemy? Their ships were bigger, their weapons more numerous. This would be over in minutes. Hyun-woo watched them come. Closer, closer. He needed them fully committed, too deep to retreat easily. Captain, his sensor officer called out. They're entering weapons range in 30 seconds. Hold position, Hyun-woo said calmly. Wait for it. On the Celestial Hammer, Admiral Corthan smiled. The human ships weren't even moving. They were paralyzed with fear. This was going to be even easier than he thought. All ships, fire at will. Thousands of energy weapons and missiles launched from the Council fleet, streaking through space toward the 50 Earth vessels. The barrage was incredible, enough firepower to vaporize a small moon. Now! Hyun-woo shouted. Every Earthship activated their quantum displacement drives simultaneously. One moment they were sitting still, about to be destroyed. The next moment they simply weren't there anymore. The Council's weapons hit empty space. The 50 Earthships reappeared scattered throughout the Council fleet, moving at impossible speeds. Their quantum drives allowed them to jump short distances instantly, positioning them perfectly for attack. Fire plasma lances! Hyun-woo commanded. Brilliant blue beams of superheated plasma erupted from every Earthship. The weapons were based on technology Dr. Yuna Choi had developed in secret, using theories about matter manipulation that the Council didn't even know existed. The plasma lances cut through Council shields like they weren't even there. 3 Council ships exploded in the first volley. Then 6 more. Then 20. Admiral Corthan stared at his tactical display in shock and horror. How are they moving like that? Our sensors can barely track them. And their weapons, they're going straight through our shields. Lieutenant Sujin Kang led her squadron of fighters out from behind the Indomitable. Unlike the Council's bulky fighter craft, Earth's fighters were small, fast, and equipped with the same quantum drives as the larger ships. They could accelerate in ways that would kill most alien pilots. But human bodies could take more punishment. Especially with the medical enhancements Earth's military used, her fighters dove into the Council formation, weapons blazing. Each one targeted specific weak points that Earth intelligence had identified. Systems the Council left exposed because they never thought anyone could get close enough to exploit them. This is Wraith 1, Sujin called over the com. I count 40 confirmed kills. These guys fly like cargo haulers. More council ships exploded. Some tried to retreat, but Earth ships anticipated their moves, quantum jumping ahead of them to cut off escape routes. Others tried to fight, but their weapons couldn't track targets that could teleport short distances. Captain Jae-hoon Roo had been waiting for this moment. His ship, the Shadow of Terra, had been hiding in the asteroid belt for 3 days using stealth technology the Council didn't know humans possessed. Now he and 5 other stealth ships appeared throughout the Council fleet, firing at point-blank range. "Stealth squadron reporting," Jae-hoon said calmly. "We have targets of opportunity on all sides." The Council fleet was in chaos. Ships collided with each other trying to avoid Earth weapons. Commanders screamed contradictory orders. Some vessels surrendered immediately. Others fought on desperately. Aboard the Celestial Hammer, Admiral Corthan finally understood the terrible truth. His fleet wasn't just losing. It was being slaughtered. In less than 30 minutes, he had lost over 200 ships. 200 against 50 human vessels. "All ships retreat," he broadcast. "Fall back to the jump point." But Captain Hyun-woo wasn't done. The indomitable Quantum jumped directly in front of the Celestial Hammer, blocking its escape route. "Admiral Corthan," Hyun-woo's voice came over the comm. "You came here to teach us a lesson. Let me teach you one instead. You threatened our world. You planned to enslave our people. You thought we were primitives who would be easy to crush. You were wrong." Another wave of plasma lance fire swept through the Council fleet. 50 more ships vanished in brilliant explosions. "Surrender now," Hyun-woo continued, "or I will destroy every single ship you have. Your choice. You have 30 seconds. Corthan looked at his tactical display. 300 ships gone. His fleet was broken. The humans had weapons and technology that shouldn't exist, tactics that were impossible to counter. Pride warred with survival instinct in his mind. Survival won. "We surrender," he said, his voice barely a whisper, across the galaxy. On the Council's capital world of Centrum Prime. The emergency session was complete chaos. Reports were coming in from the battle in real time, each one more horrifying than the last. High Chancellor Morden stood at the center of the chamber, his silver skin pale. "This is impossible. The humans are primitives. They can't have this technology." Councillor Vexler watched the tactical feeds with growing fear in his reptilian eyes. His species had fought wars for thousands of years, but he had never seen combat like this. The humans moved like they could predict the future, struck with weapons that ignored every defense, and fought with an intensity that terrified him. "We underestimated them," he said slowly. "By all the stars, we underestimated them badly." On Earth, in the command center, Admiral Taeyang Lee watched the surrender with grim satisfaction. Around him, people cheered, but he didn't join them. This was just the beginning. The Council would regroup. They would try again. And next time, they would be ready for Earth's tricks, or so they would think. He opened a secure channel to Captain Kim. "Well done, Captain. Secure the prisoners and return to Earth, but stay alert. This war isn't over yet." News of the defeat spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Within hours, every species in Council space knew that humanity had destroyed over half of the enforcement fleet. Within days, the full recordings of the battle were playing on 1 billion alien screens. The Council had tried to suppress the information, but too many people had seen it happen. In the grand chambers of Centrum Prime, High Chancellor Morden faced an emergency council session. Representatives from 40 species shouted accusations at each other. Some blamed Morden for provoking Earth. Others demanded immediate revenge. A few had already started secret communications with Earth, looking for protection from what they feared would come next. "Order!" Morden shouted, his 3 eyes blazing with fury. "We will have order." The chamber reluctantly quieted. Councillor Vexler stood up, his massive reptilian form casting shadows across the floor. "The humans have embarrassed us, made us look weak. If we do not respond with overwhelming force, other species will think they can challenge Council authority. The Dracoth speaks wisdom, another counselor agreed. This one was a floating jellyfish-like creature called a Murdith. We must assemble a larger fleet. Show the galaxy that the Council's power is absolute. Morden nodded slowly. Very well. Send word to all member species. We will gather the largest armada in Council history. Every species will contribute warships. The humans will drown in our numbers. While the Council argued and planned, Admiral Taeyang Lee sat in his office on Earth. Reviewing intelligence reports with President Eunji Huang, the president looked tired, but her eyes were as sharp as ever. They're going to come at us with everything they have, she said. Our spies report they're assembling over 2,000 warships. Let them, Admiral Lee replied calmly. While they gather their forces, we strike first. The president raised an eyebrow. Explain. The Council expects us to sit here and defend Earth. They think we'll wait for their attack. Instead, we take the fight to them. Hit their military installations, their weapons factories, their supply depots. Show them that nowhere in Council space is safe. A slow smile spread across President Wang's face. Operation Reckoning, yes, Madam President. 3 days later, Admiral Inho Nam led a fleet of 20 Earth warships through a quantum jump gate into the Valkyrie home system. The Valkyrie were one of the Council's founding species, arrogant and proud. They never expected an attack on their homeworld. Their orbital defense platforms opened fire immediately. But Earth's ships were already moving. Quantum drives flashing, they appeared and disappeared throughout the system, targeting military installations with surgical precision. Plasma lances burned through shields and armor. Missiles destroyed weapons factories. Within 2 hours, the Valkyrie military infrastructure was crippled. Admiral Nam broadcast a message across all frequencies. This is the United Earth Navy. We have no quarrel with Valkyrie civilians. We have targeted only military assets. If the Council continues its aggression toward Earth, we will return. Next time, we will not be so gentle. The same scene played out across 6 different systems simultaneously. Earth strike teams hit Dracoth weapons research stations, Thetra shipyards, Murdith supply depots, and more. Every attack was fast, precise, and devastating. Earth forces destroyed their targets and vanished before the Council could respond. General Hai One-Song led the most daring operation. She took 200 Marines aboard 5 stealth ships and infiltrated a Council weapons research facility on the moon of Tarkus. Prime. The facility was developing new shield technology that the Council hoped would counter Earth's plasma weapons. The Marines moved through the facility like ghosts. Their armor had adaptive camouflage that made them nearly invisible. Their weapons were silent and deadly. Within 30 minutes, they had secured the entire complex without killing a single scientist. All research data has been downloaded, one of her officers reported. What about the scientists, General? General Song looked at the frightened aliens huddled in the main laboratory. They were researchers, not soldiers. Some species might have killed them anyway, but humans still believed in rules of war. Let them go, she ordered. Tell them if they want to live, they should convince their governments to make peace with Earth. But the most important operation happened on Centrum Prime itself. Captain Subin Lee was a master of infiltration, trained in techniques that made her nearly undetectable. She had spent weeks studying Council security systems. Learning their blind spots and weaknesses, she slipped into the capital city, using false identity documents so perfect that even Council scanners couldn't detect them. Over the next 3 days, she planted surveillance devices throughout the Council chambers, the military command center, and the homes of several high-ranking officials. Earth could now hear every conversation the Council had. Every plan they made, every weakness they showed, every doubt they expressed. Information was power, and Earth now had more information than the Council could imagine. Dr. Yuna Choi examined the technology captured from Council facilities with growing amusement. She sat in her laboratory surrounded by alien devices, shaking her head in disbelief. Admiral Lee, you should see this, she said over a secure channel. Admiral Taeyang appeared on her screen. What have you found, Doctor? Their technology is primitive. I mean, they have some things we don't, like their quantum jump gates. But their weapons, their shields, their computer systems, they're all decades behind what we've developed. Maybe more. How is that possible? Some of these species have been spacefaring for thousands of years. Dr. Choi pulled up comparison charts on her screen. Because they stopped innovating. When you're the dominant power, when no one challenges you, you get comfortable, lazy. The Council has been using the same basic technology for centuries, just making small improvements. Meanwhile, humanity spent the last 40 years racing to catch up, pushing every boundary, trying every crazy idea. We've been innovating faster in 4 decades than they have in 4 centuries. Admiral Lee absorbed this information. So we have a technological advantage that they can't easily overcome. Exactly. And now that we have their research data, we can stay ahead of them. Every time they develop something new, we'll know about it before it's deployed. On Centrum Prime, the Council received reports of the Earth attacks with mounting horror. 12 facilities destroyed or captured. Hundreds of ships damaged or destroyed. And worse, they now knew that Earth could strike anywhere in Council space at will. Hi. Chancellor Morden looked like he had aged a decade in a few days. His silver skin had taken on a grayish tint. How did they move so many ships so quickly? How did they know exactly where to strike? No one had answers. The truth, that Earth had been spying on them for weeks, didn't even occur to them. Councillor Vexler stood before the assembled council, his reptilian features twisted with rage and fear. The humans are making fools of us. Every species in the galaxy is watching. Some are already talking about leaving the council. If we don't stop Earth now, the entire council will collapse. Then we accelerate our plans, Morden said. The Armada will be ready in 2 weeks. 2,000 warships from 30 species. We will jump directly to Earth and destroy their homeworld. No more warnings. No more mercy. A human voice suddenly echoed through the council chamber. Everyone froze. It was impossible. The chamber was secure, shielded from any outside transmission. Ambassador G1 Park's face appeared on every screen in the room. She was broadcasting from Earth, somehow bypassing all of their security. Members of the Galactic Council, she began, her voice calm and clear. Earth has intercepted your communications. We know about your plan to enslave humanity. We know about your plan to attack our homeworld with 2,000 ships. We want the galaxy to know these things too. The broadcast switched to show recordings of council meetings. Secret communications and operational plans, everything, the plan to enslave Earth, the plan to strip human colonies, the plan to commit genocide if humans resisted too strongly. All of it played for the entire galaxy to see. Humanity came to the stars in peace, one continued. We wanted to join your civilization, to learn from species older and wiser than us. You answered our friendship with threats? You answered our cooperation with demands for submission. You tried to conquer us. You failed. Now you plan to try again with more ships, as if numbers alone will defeat us. Her expression hardened. Let me be clear. Earth did not want this war. But if you bring 2,000 ships to our homeworld, we will destroy them just like we destroyed your first fleet. We have technology you cannot match. We have determination you cannot break. We will fight you in space. We will fight you on every world. We will never surrender. The broadcast ended. The council chamber erupted in chaos. But G1's message wasn't just for the council. It was broadcast across the entire galaxy. Every species heard it. Every species saw the evidence of the council's plans. Within hours, protests erupted on a dozen worlds. Council member species that had been quiet before now openly questioned their leadership. 3 minor species announced they were withdrawing from the council entirely. The unity that had held the council together for centuries was cracking, but Councillor Vexler and his allies weren't backing down. If anything, they became more determined. The Armada continued to assemble. More ships arrived every day. Dracoth warships, massive and powerful. Valkyrie cruisers, elegant and deadly. Ships from species who feared what would happen if they didn't support the Council's war effort, 2,000 vessels. The largest military force ever assembled in Council history. All aimed at one small blue planet at the edge of known space. Earth watched them come and prepared to fight. The Council's armada gathered at the nexus point, a strategic system that housed the largest quantum jump gates in known space. From here, they could reach Earth in a single massive jump. 2,000 warships from 30 different species filled the space around the gates. So many vessels that they blotted out the stars. Councillor Vexler stood on the bridge of his personal flagship, the Scales of Dominion. Around him, his Dracoth crew worked with cold efficiency. This time would be different. This time they had overwhelming numbers and they knew what to expect from human technology. "All fleet commanders report ready," his communications officer announced. "Good," Vexler growled. "Once we jump to Earth, we maintain formation. No spreading out like last time. We advance as one unified force. Even with their tricks, the humans cannot fight 2,000 ships." High Chancellor Morden's face appeared on the main screen. He was aboard his own flagship several thousand kilometers away. "Counselor, are you certain about this course of action? Some species are having second thoughts after the human broadcast." "Those species are cowards," Vexler said dismissively. "Once we crush Earth, they will fall back in line. The Council's authority will be restored. Then proceed. May the stars guide us." The massive armada powered up their jump drives. In minutes, they would appear in Earth's solar system. This time, there would be no surrender. No mercy. The Council would make an example of humanity. That would echo across the galaxy for millennia, but they had made one critical mistake. They assumed Earth would wait to be attacked aboard the UN Prometheus, humanity's newest and most powerful warship. Captain Hyun-Woo Kim studied the tactical display with Admiral Tae-Young Lee standing beside him. The admiral had come out of his command bunker to personally oversee this operation. "Our spies confirm the Council fleet is preparing to jump," Commander Bill Rahan reported. "They'll be here in approximately 10 minutes. "They won't make it," Admiral Lee said calmly. "Captain Seo Jun Cho, are your forces in position?" On another screen, Captain Cho appeared. He commanded a strike force of 30 Earth warships currently hiding in stealth near the Nexus Point. "Yes, sir. We have visual on the Council armada. Awaiting your orders. Execute Operation Hammer." Captain Cho smiled grimly. "With pleasure, Admiral." At the Nexus Point, the Council armada had no idea what was about to happen. Their sensors showed empty space around them. They believed they were safe, about to launch their devastating attack on Earth. Then 30 Earth warships decloaked simultaneously, appearing in perfect attack formation throughout the Council fleet. But they weren't there to fight. They were there to sabotage. "Fire on the jump gates." Captain Cho ordered. Plasma lances and missiles launched from every Earth ship, all targeting the massive quantum gates that would transport the Council fleet to Earth. The gates were heavily shielded, designed to withstand almost any attack. But Earth's weapons weren't like anything the Council had faced before. The first gate exploded in a brilliant flash of energy. Then the second. Then the third. In less than 5 minutes, all 6 gates were destroyed, their twisted wreckage floating in space. Councillor Vexler stared in shock at his tactical display. "What? How did they get here?" "Our sensors showed nothing." "They must have better stealth technology than we thought," his tactical officer replied, voice shaking with fear. "It doesn't matter. We still have 2,000 ships. Attack those Earth vessels." But the Earth ships were already gone, quantum jumping away before the Council could coordinate a response. They left behind only the burning wreckage of the jump gates and a simple message broadcast across all frequencies. "This is Captain Seo Jun Cho of the United Earth Navy. You wanted to bring the war to our home. We brought it to yours instead. Those gates will take months to rebuild. You're stuck here. And we're just getting started." The message was for the Council leadership, but every crew member in the Armada heard it too. Morale already shaky after the losses at Earth, began to crumble. On Centrum Prime, High Chancellor Morden received the news in stunned silence. The Armada couldn't reach Earth, they were trapped at the Nexus Point, and worse, they were now vulnerable to attack. "Order the fleet to return to their home systems immediately," he commanded. "Before the humans strike again?" But it was already too late for that. While Captain Cho destroyed the gates, other Earth forces had been moving into position across Council space. Admiral In Ho Nam commanded the largest of these strike forces. 50 warships with a specific target. The Dracoth homeworld of Kreth was a fortress world, ringed with defense stations and shield generators. It had never been successfully attacked in 3,000 years of Dracoth history. The reptilian species considered it invulnerable. Admiral Nam's fleet quantum jumped into orbit, bypassing the outer defenses entirely. Before the Dracoth could react, Earth ships began systematically destroying military targets. Weapons platforms, shipyards, training facilities. Each strike was precise, avoiding civilian areas but crippling military infrastructure. "Broadcast the message," Admiral Nam ordered. His communications officer nodded. "Attention Dracoth government. Earth has no desire to harm your civilians. But Councillor Vexler has led you into a war you cannot win. Withdraw from the Council's aggression against Earth, and we will leave your world in peace. Continue to support the war effort, and we will return. The choice is yours." Similar attacks happened simultaneously across 8 different Council worlds. Each time, Earth forces struck military targets with devastating precision. That offered the same choice: peace or continued destruction. General Haiwan Song led the ground assault on Tarkus Prime, the site of the Council's main military academy. Her Marines landed in dropships, moving fast through the facility. The alien cadets and instructors never stood a chance against Earth's special forces. "Secure the command center," General Song ordered. "Download all their tactical databases. I want every piece of military intelligence they have." Her teams moved through the academy like a storm. Within an hour, they had complete control. Thousands of young alien cadets huddled in their dormitories, terrified but unharmed. General Song had given strict orders: no civilian casualties, no unnecessary destruction. Earth was at war with the Council leadership, not with ordinary people. "General, we have the data," one of her officers reported. "Also, we found something interesting. Several of the instructors want to talk to you." 3 alien officers were brought before her. They were from different species: the Murdath, Thetra, and a species called the Kervani. All of them looked nervous but determined. The Murdath spoke first, its voice bubbling through its translator. "General Song, not all of us support this war. Many Council species were forced to participate. Our governments fear the Dracoth and Valkyrie. If Earth offers an alternative, if you offer protection, some of us would join you." General Song studied them carefully. This was exactly what Earth's leadership had hoped for. Divide the Council. Turn their members against each other. "Tell your governments to contact Earth directly," she said. "We're not interested in conquest. But we will protect those who stand with us against tyranny." While Earth's military operations continued, Dr. Yuna Choi made a breakthrough in her laboratory. She had been studying the Council's quantum jump gate technology, trying to understand how it worked. The gates allowed instant travel across vast distances, something Earth couldn't do with its quantum displacement drives. "I think I've figured it out," she told Admiral Lee during their daily briefing. "The gate technology uses a different principle than our drives. It creates stable wormholes through quantum entanglement. We could build our own gates, probably better ones than the Council has." "How long?" "With our current resources, maybe 6 months to build a prototype." Admiral Lee nodded thoughtfully. "That would change everything. We could move fleets across the galaxy instantly. The Council would never be able to predict where we'd strike next." "There's more," Dr. Choi continued. "I've been analyzing the captured Council databases. Their species have been using the same technology for so long that they've forgotten how to innovate. They just make small improvements to existing designs. But humans, we think differently. We try crazy things. We take risks, and that's our advantage." "Yes, sir." In the long run, they can't keep up with us. Even if they have more ships, more resources, more experience, they can't match our rate of innovation. On Centrum Prime, the Council was falling apart. Reports came in hourly of new disasters. The Armada was stuck at the nexus point. 8 major worlds had been attacked. 3 species had announced they were withdrawing from the Council. Protests filled the streets of a dozen planets. High Chancellor Morden sat in his private chambers, his 3 eyes staring at nothing. His aide, a young Valkyrie named Kelther, approached cautiously. "Chancellor, you have a visitor?" "Ambassador Park from Earth." Morden's head snapped up. "The human is here." "How did she get through our security?" "She says she walked through the front door, sir. Our guards didn't even try to stop her." One Park entered the chamber, looking completely calm despite being in the heart of enemy territory. She had walked through the capital of the Galactic Council without anyone daring to arrest her. Earth's reputation had grown that much. "High Chancellor," she said politely, "I've come to offer terms." "Terms?" Morden's voice was bitter. "You've already won. Why offer terms?" "Because Earth doesn't want endless war. We want to live in peace with the galaxy, but not under the Council's current leadership. Not under a system that allows powerful species to dominate weaker ones. What do you want?" G1 pulled out a datapad. "Complete reform of the Council. Equal representation for all species, not just the old powers. An end to military aggression as a tool of policy. Open technology sharing. Fair trade agreements. And the removal of certain individuals from power." She looked at him meaningfully. Morden understood. He would have to resign. So would Vexler and others who had pushed for war. "And if we refuse?" "Then Earth continues its campaign until the Council collapses entirely. We have allies now, species who are tired of your rule. We'll build a new galactic community, one based on cooperation instead of domination." "With or without the old Council?" Morden looked at the human ambassador for a long moment. She was young by Valkyrie standards, probably not even 60 years old. But her eyes held absolute certainty. Earth would not back down, could not be intimidated. "I need to consult with the other council members," he said finally. "You have 48 hours, G1 replied. "After that, Earth begins Phase 2 of our operations." She didn't say what Phase 2 would be. She didn't have to. Everyone knew Earth had barely shown its full strength yet. Councillor Vexler refused to accept defeat. While High Chancellor Morden considered Earth's terms, the massive Dracoth gathered his most loyal supporters in a secret meeting aboard the Scales of Dominion. Representatives from the Valkyrie, Thitra, and a few other militaristic species listened as he spoke. "The Council is weak," Vexler growled. "Morden wants to surrender to these primitive humans. He would throw away thousands of years of Dracoth supremacy because of a few lost battles. I say no. We fight, but Counselor," a Valkyrie admiral named Tekron protested, "Earth has destroyed our jump gates. They have superior technology. They have already defeated us twice. Because we fought separately." Vexler slammed his massive fist on the table. "The Armada at Nexus Point is still intact. 2,000 ships. Yes, the humans have tricks. Yes, they have new weapons. But they are still just one species defending one world. We bring the entire Armada down on Earth at once. We overwhelm them with sheer numbers. Burn their cities. Break their spirit. Then we can deal with the other Council species who dare to question our authority." The gathered leaders looked at each other nervously. It was a desperate plan, but some of them were desperate enough to try it. They had built their power on Council dominance. If the Council fell, they fell with it. "How do we reach Earth without the jump gates?" someone asked. "The old way," Vexler said. "Conventional faster-than-light drives. It will take 2 weeks instead of minutes, but we can do it. And this time, we don't stop until Earth is ashes." But Vexler's plan had one fatal flaw. He assumed his communications were secure. He didn't know that Captain Subin Lee had planted surveillance devices throughout the Council's command structure months ago. Every word of his secret meeting was transmitted directly to Earth. President, Ji Wang listened to the recording in her office with Admiral Taeyang Li and Ambassador Young Ho Bei, who had recently been appointed to replace Ji-1 Park as Earth's chief diplomat. "They're planning one final assault," President Wang said. 2,000 ships headed straight for Earth. "Let them come," Admiral Li replied. "We've been preparing for exactly this. Captain Hyun-woo has a plan." Captain Hyun-woo Kim stood on the bridge of the Prometheus, now promoted to Commodore and given command of Earth's entire defensive fleet. 300 warships, every combat-capable vessel Earth possessed, waited in formation around their homeworld. But this time, they wouldn't fight alone. Ambassador Young-ho had been busy. In the weeks since Earth's counterstrikes began, he had been in contact with dozens of Council species. Many were tired of Dracoth and Velkari dominance. Many had been forced into the war against their will. And many saw Earth as a chance for something better. When the Council's armada finally arrived at Earth's solar system 2 weeks later, they found a surprise waiting. Earth's 300 ships were there, but they were joined by 200 vessels from allied species. The Murdath had sent 40 ships. The Kurvani sent 60. The Thetra sent 30. Others came in smaller numbers, each one representing a species that had chosen Earth over the Council. Vexler stared at the tactical display in disbelief. "Traitors! All of them are traitors!" "Sir, we still outnumber them 4-1, his tactical officer said nervously. "Then we crush them all. All ships advance. Show these fools what happens when you defy the Council." The massive armada surged forward. 2,000 ships against 500. On paper, the Council should win. But this wasn't a battle that would be decided on paper. Commodore Hyun-woo watched them come with calm eyes. He had spent weeks preparing for this moment, studying every tactic, every strategy. He knew exactly how this would play out. "All ships execute Pattern Delta," he commanded. The combined Earth and Allied fleet split into 50 small groups, each one moving independently. The Council fleet tried to maintain formation, but it was too large, too unwieldy. Ships from different species used different communication protocols. Commanders couldn't coordinate effectively. Earth's quantum drives flashed as ships jumped around the battlefield, appearing and disappearing in patterns that seemed random but were carefully choreographed. Plasma lances fired from unexpected angles. Allied ships used their own unique weapons in coordination with Earth tactics. Lieutenant Sujin Kang led her expanded fighter wing, now including pilots from 3 allied species. They had trained together for weeks, learning each other's styles, combining human aggression with alien precision. "This is Wraith Leader," she broadcast. "All wings target their capital ships. Hit them hard and fast." Hundreds of fighters swarmed through the Council formation like angry hornets. The Council's fighter screens tried to respond, but they were outmatched, outflown, and overwhelmed. General Haiwan Song commanded marine operations from the assault carrier Fury of Terra. Her mission wasn't to destroy Council ships, it was to capture them. "Boarding teams launch," she ordered. Dropships filled with Marines Quantum jumped directly into Council vessels, bypassing shields and armor. The Marines stormed through ship corridors, capturing key systems and forcing surrenders. Within the first hour, 20 Council ships had been taken intact, their crews imprisoned without a single casualty. But the real turning point came when Dr. Yuna Choi activated her newest creation. She had spent weeks analyzing the Council's quantum jump gate technology, reverse engineering it, improving it. Now Earth had something the Council never expected. "Commodore Kim, the Horizon Gate is ready," she reported. "Activate it." A massive structure appeared in space near Earth. A quantum jump gate built by humanity using captured technology and human innovation. But this gate didn't lead to another part of Council space. It led to a carefully chosen point right in the middle of the Council fleet. Another 100 Earth ships poured through the gate, appearing in the heart of Vexler S formation. The Council fleet, already struggling to fight on multiple fronts, suddenly faced enemies from every direction. "This is impossible," Vexler roared. "They shouldn't have gate technology." His flagship shuddered as plasma lances struck its shields. 3 more hits and the shields failed. The scales of dominion, pride of the Dracoth fleet, was crippled. Commodore Hyanwu Quantum jumped the Prometheus directly alongside Vexler-S flagship. The two massive ships hung in space, close enough to see each other's bridge windows. "Counselor Vexler," Hyanwu's voice came over the comm. "You called us primitives. You said your species mastered the stars before our ancestors crawled from the oceans. Maybe that's true. But while you were resting on ancient glory, we were learning. While you were comfortable in your power, we were innovating. You forgot the most important lesson of survival: adapt or die." Around them, the battle was already over. Council ships surrendered by the dozens. Some tried to flee, but Earth ships pursued them relentlessly. In 4 hours of combat, the Council had lost over 1,500 vessels. The rest surrendered or were captured. Vexler slumped in his command throne, defeated. His species had ruled the Council for millennia. Now, in the span of weeks, humanity had shattered that rule completely. "We surrender," he said quietly on Centrum Prime. High Chancellor Morden watched the battle's conclusion with something like relief. He had secretly hoped Vexler would fail. The old ways were finished. It was time for something new. He sent a message to President Wang. "Earth has won. The Council surrenders unconditionally. We accept your terms." 3 months later, representatives from 86 species gathered on a neutral space station for the signing of the new charter. The old Galactic Council was dissolved. In its place came the Allied Free Systems, a confederation based on equality rather than dominance. Ambassador Young Ho Bei presented the charter to the assembled delegates. This document guarantees that no species can be subjugated by another. It ensures equal representation regardless of how long a species has been spacefaring. It promotes technology sharing, mutual defense, and peaceful cooperation. Any species can join and any species can leave. We are allies, not subjects. The charter was signed by every species present. Even the Dracoth and Velkari, humbled by defeat, added their marks to the document. A new era had begun. President Yunji Huang stood with Admiral Taeyang, Li, and Commodore Hyanwu Kim on the observation deck of the new Alliance headquarters. Below them, ships from dozens of species docked and departed, species that had once been enemies now working together. "Do you think it will last?" President Huang asked. "Not without work," Admiral Li replied. "But we've shown the galaxy something important. We've shown them that the strong don't have to dominate the weak. That cooperation is stronger than tyranny." Commodore Hyanwu nodded. "The Council made a mistake when they threatened us. They thought we would be easy to crush. Instead, we became the force that liberated the galaxy from their rule." Ambassador Ji-1 Park joined them, returning from a diplomatic mission to a former Council world. "I just came from a meeting with the Murdoth government. They're calling humans the Liberators. They've erected statues of our ships in their capital city." President Wang smiled slightly. "I hope we can live up to that reputation." In a secure prison facility on Earth's moon, Counselor Vexler sat in his cell, looking at the stars through a small window. A human guard brought him his meal, setting it down without comment. "Guard," Vexler called out. "May I ask you a question?" The guard paused. "What?" "How did you do it? How did one species, newcomers to the galaxy, defeat forces that had ruled for millennia?" The guard thought for a moment. "Because you saw us as primitives. You thought old meant superior. But humans learned a long time ago that survival doesn't come from being the strongest or the oldest. It comes from being willing to change, to adapt, to try new things even when they seem impossible. You spent thousands of years perfecting what you had. We spent 40 years imagining what could be." Vexler watched the guard leave, considering those words. The Dracoth had been proud of their ancient traditions, their proven methods. They never considered that their greatest strength had become their greatest weakness. They had stopped evolving while humanity raced forward, aboard the Prometheus. Now flagship of the Alliance Defense Fleet, Admiral Hyanwu Kim looked at star maps showing the expansion of the new alliance. 50 systems had joined in the first month. More were applying every week. Species that had been oppressed under the Council were finally free to chart their own courses. G1 entered the bridge and stood beside him. Thinking about what comes next? Always, Hyun-woo replied. The Alliance is growing fast. Maybe too fast? We'll face new challenges, new threats. But not alone, one said. That's what we've built here. A community of equals. When the next crisis comes, we'll face it together. Han-woo nodded, looking at the stars. Humanity had come to the galaxy seeking friendship and had been met with threats. They had been called primitives, children playing with weapons they didn't understand. The Council had tried to crush them, to enslave them, to destroy them instead. Earth had shattered the old order and built something better. They had shown the galaxy that strength didn't come from domination, but from cooperation. That innovation mattered more than tradition. That even the smallest, newest species could change everything if they refused to give up. The Council had provoked Earth, and they would regret it for generations to come. Not because humanity sought revenge, but because humanity had shown the galaxy there was a better way. The age of the Council was over. The age of the Alliance had begun. And humanity, the species that had been dismissed as primitives, had led the way.